Lawmakers are looking at making changes to the Department of Children and Families. The agency, typically called DCF, has been facing scrutiny after multiple high-profile events over the last 12 months.
But families now are pushing back against some of the proposals. NBC Connecticut political reporter Mike Savino joins us live from the Legislative Office building. And Mike, what are lawmakers considering?
Well, Kevin and Amber, there is bipartisan support for some of the reforms that they're looking at with DCF, including creating an oversight committee to continue this work beyond this session. But homeschool families are worried about some of the efforts to have oversight when kids are pulled out of school.
For so long, child welfare reform has followed tragedy, and this bill builds the guardrails before tragedy happens.
The legislature's Children's Committee is taking a look at broad reforms at DCF, protections for children, after two high-profile cases last year involving allegations of abuse and neglect with families who had contact with the agency. One of those cases was an 11-year-old New Britain girl who was found dead in October. One bill would make it easier for DCF to place a child with other family or even a family friend. It would also require the agency contact their counterparts in other states when a child in their custody is outside Connecticut for 2 weeks to arrange for in-person visits. And it would create an oversight committee to make more recommendations. The interim head of the agency doesn't think that last step is necessary.
I have made and will continue to make transparency and accountability a priority for the department under my leadership.
These issues are complicated. I do support us taking a more in-depth look after session expires.
But there's pushback over another bill that would require school districts to notify DCF when a family pulls a child from public school. Homeschool families are worried DCF will overstep its authority.
Every time I have to come to this building to fight for my parental rights, which I've been doing since 2019, this is time away from my children. This is a book I could be reading to my children.
But the state's child advocate remains concerned there's no oversight of a child's safety otherwise.
Our system right now is parents simply need to tell the school, hey, I'm going to homeschool my child going forward, and that's it.
Now, we talked extensively with the child advocate about this issue during a recent episode of the Face More Facts with Mike and Mike podcast, including, in her view, the need for a statewide assessment on the education homeschool families are giving their children. That's something the Education Committee is looking at with its own bill. That's something that's still in the works, but will also need a public hearing this session. Live from the Capitol, Mike Savino, NBC Connecticut News.